Today is your day. It's the reason why you came across this video. Perhaps you've been thinking to yourself, what have I been pursuing for most of my life? Who have I been trying to become for most of my life? Because a lot of times we get lost in the external. We get lost in pursuing and chasing money, and chasing hierarchy, and chasing materialism, which at a base level, it's good to have those things for a good standard of living. But you know what happens after a while of pursuing those things and not understanding what the inner world desires, what the soul desires? You eventually will get to a place where you're going to look around and you're going to think, why am I doing what I'm doing? I don't even like this anymore. I don't even know if I ever did. It's a brutal situation to be in, but at the same time, it's a beautiful one. Why is it beautiful? Because there's a moment you'll realize in your life that it is the utmost importance to pursue the unity between your soul and your ego. The soul, which is your inner child, the you were more familiar with when you were growing up. The ego is the way to which you experience and see the world. But the ego is not whole. It is not the full picture. It is oftentimes a warped picture. It gives you perceptions of certain things, gives you interpretations, but we often don't realize that it is beneath the unconscious realm that bubbles up to the surface, particular complexes and challenges and traumas and pains that we feel that affect the way we perceive everything. Absent of the soul, you will find yourself just getting more and more lost in the ego. And by ego, I don't mean like just inflation and thinking you're amazing. That's just one form of the way the ego can manifest. It can manifest in many, many different ways. But ego alone will lead you down a path where you might end up in a big house but feel absolutely small. What is the purpose? Or I should say, what is a good starting point if you wish to take a different journey in your life, something with more meaning, something that feels more of a given purpose to you? A good place to start is to integrate the ego and the soul, combining the two worlds together. To combine the soul with the ego requires an inward observation. You have to look within yourself and understand, what are the challenges you deal with? What are the stories you want to avoid? Because understand, we are existing in stories. We live in stories. Whether we like it or not, that's just how we experience life. And it's understanding the stories to which we live by that we can then begin the process of changing them, integrating them, or completely letting them go because they don't serve us anymore. Getting in touch with that inner child, it's a combination of the healing process of understanding your stories and your traumas and immersing yourself and finding the connections to other memories, to other situations that can give you a more deeper perspective. And then at the same time, interacting in ways that can bring memory back to when you were a child. Not because we want to jump back to when we were kids. We can't do that. But what you can do is bring back that spirit that you inhabited. And you can do that many ways. You can do that through chaos play, playing without any objective, any purpose. Because now, as we get older, we like to have heavy rules and regiments, and we can't do this, we can't do that, which is fine. But every once in a while, it's nice to play with no rules, no boundaries. Absurdity, being goofy, being silly. Destructive play. Obviously, I'm not advising you to destroy your house, but there are places you can go to that their businesses are exclusively, you walk into a room, they give you a bat, and you just smash up everything there. That's a way that you can play as well to ignite that inner child. And so there are many ways you can be in touch with it. And I go way more into that with my Rule of Three method. But once you have the inner child, the soul activated, and you can gain some insight as to how it operates and what does it want, it's then the integration of the ego. Because now, what happens when those two are unified as best as you can, you will know right away, immediately, which direction you have to go. It may not be the exact spot right then and there. But as time goes on, you'll feel this inner compass start to guide you a lot more effectively. You'll feel a lot more stable. You'll feel a lot more calm. And then once you can aim it and point at something, you can finally feel like all of you is committed to this. All of you is committed to what you are about to venture on. And that's a beautiful thing, because when you can feel that when you've integrated these two worlds together, that now anything extra just amplifies it, because success should amplify your soul, should express it. It should unionize the two. Versus what success often leads to is the separation of the soul. Because perhaps we're making certain sacrifices to our values, to our ethics that we don't want to do, but the ego is pushing forward and saying we have to, we must. Otherwise, people will think we're a loser. Otherwise, people will reject us. And nobody will want to be with us. Whatever the story is. This is why it's so important to have those two unite. And once you have them unite, the world opens up to you. Things start to make a little bit more sense. Because success outward means nothing if you've lacked the success internally. And it's not about saying, I'm amazing, or I'm the best ever. It's not about delusional self-aggrandizing. But it is the beautiful moment when you can finally look in the mirror and say to yourself, where have you been all this time? Where have you been hiding? And I'm sorry that I left you behind. Because that's what we often do. The ego pursues, leaves behind the inner child. We abandon. That is the pursuit. To understand your unity, how you connect. What are your stories? Taking the old stories and traumas and understanding the both sides of good and bad that brought you to where you are today. And the more you can understand this reality, you can start to move forward and feel this genuine change in your life. This meaningful, impactful change. If this resonates with you and you want to take this to the next level, you want to expand your knowledge on it, I have a link down below. It'll send you over to my website where you can sign up to my monthly newsletter. And I have in there a 3-step identity rebuilding guide that I've created to help you just sort of navigate that terrain of identity loss. And I send out all my Rule of 3 information for free in that private community. This way I want to just give you what I wish I had when I went through my time, when I didn't know who I was. I had a passion for a certain period of time, lost the passion, lost myself in the meantime, and then had to rebuild and reorganize myself to rebuilding purpose, rediscovering my identity, and then finally pursuing something that is meaningful and rich to me. And so if that resonated with you, click that link below, head over to the website. I look forward to seeing you guys there.